In the same way we are leaving our footprints on the pavement, we are leaving carbon footprints on the nature itself. The term carbon footprint is closely connected with what is known as the greenhouse effect. As it is often quoted, carbon footprint is the total amount of the carbon dioxide emission that is produced by a single person, company, country, and so on. In other words, it does mean how much do we pollute the planet. Apparently, we pollute the planet in so many different and dangerous ways. So, why is the carbon dioxide so important? The answer is rather simple. The CO2 is the main part of the so-called greenhouse gases. And what is wrong with these? Essentially, nothing except the fact that in recent years the total amount of these gases has increased due to human activities, so the greenhouse effect itself become one of the biggest environmental threats. The planet is getting warmer, glaciers are melting, and weather is changing, which means unpredictable and potentially very dangerous conditions for the whole nature. Letting huge companies to government's decisions, we decided to find out how to effectively reduce our own carbon footprints. We did a little survey in which we tried to find out what are the young people willing to sacrifice when it comes to lowering their carbon footprint, as they just might face that decision in a few years' time. So, we let down the set of possibilities and asked students one basic question. In order to reduce your carbon footprint, what of the following would you exclude of your lifestyle and why? The given possible answers, from which they could pick just one, were as follows.
A car.
A computer. A cell phone.
Having a baby.
Or eating meat. Those options were designed to represent an important part of the lifestyle of the people we meant to make the survey among. Plus, they all share a specific amount of a carbon footprint.
In order to reduce your carbon footprint, what of the following would you exclude of your lifestyle and why? A. A car. B. Computer. C. Cell phone. D. Having a baby. E. Eating meat.
Well, I think I should use car because cars, when many people they try a car, so they will provide the gas poisoners. So it seems like that I should reduce the car. So everyone they should reduce the car. They should not use car very much because if they use too much car, it means like they use the much of gasoline. So it can produce the gas poison and on the air, so it can be air pollution. So I think everyone they should understand and they should use bicycle instead of using car. It's better. And one more thing, it can reduce the traffic jam as well.
I think I can live without car. I cannot imagine my life without computer or cell phone or one day having a baby. And I think, or eating meat, of course. I would rather live 10 years shorter than live without meat. So I think we can definitely live without car, and that is the less important thing from this list.
If I had to give up one of those options, I would give up meat, because I knew that this would create the most controversial response from my roommate and his friends, Igor. And both my sisters are vegetarians, and they think that it's really good for the environment. So, and I've put on a lot of weight since I started eating meat, so that's what I would give up. Thank you.
So if I had to give up one thing, that would be car, because it's easy to give up from something that you don't own, because there's no way I'm giving up from meat or having babies.
For rich people, I hope so it's a car, because everyone wants to improve your money for the others. It's a really good lifestyle, you know about the car direction, all of this.
Okay, so my answer would be cell phone, because I think you can replace it by computer right now, and the cell phone operator and the energy it uses is not worth it.
I think I will exclude of my life a car, because I can use public transport or a car's friend or something like that. I think it's the best option for me.
Okay, I would exclude a car from my daily life because it produces a lot of carbon dioxide, and besides it's always easy to use a bicycle or public transportation, and it's more eco-friendly.
Okay, so if I have to pick one of those stuff that I cannot live without or with, I would pick the cell phone maybe the most, because I don't really need it. For example, we have computers, we have Facebook, we have Skype and social networks. We can arrange meetings, we can chat with people through computer, so we don't need cell phones. Or the other way around, we can use our cell phones and we don't need computer. I mean, I don't need computer, so that's all.
If I have to pick one that I can live out, I would pick eating meat, because there's absolutely no necessity in it except for cultures and traditional ones, but if everyone ceases to do that, there's no problem.
So if I could choose one thing that I could live without, it will be the car, because it's not necessary. We have a lot of choices between public transportations and walking to somewhere that we could use, and I think that will affect the most our footprint, so it will be the car.
So her car for me, because I can exclude this because I live in Paris and then I can take the train and the metro every day.
I will exclude a car because, for example, in Brno you can live without a car and take the transportation, and it's perfect.
I would probably exclude the car because for me it's the easiest thing to exclude since I don't use it very much.
I would like to exclude the car because I can use transportation instead of using my own car.
Exclude car, using car because it's consume oil, fossil fuels. Yes.
So I decided not to use a car because I'm not using it now, so that's the best thing which I can live without.
Well, my answer is D, having a baby, because I'm afraid of kids and they scare me, so that's all.
I consider maybe excluding a car, because there are alternative ways of transportation, but definitely not having a baby, because mankind need to
survive.
Yeah.
Okay, so I choose a car because I like walking by my foot.
So I choose a car because I don't have any.
I would exclude eating meat because it's like, for me it's the easiest thing and I really need the others.
I think I exclude a car because I can use public transport, and I live in a little town of 12,000 inhabitants, and I think I don't need having a car.
I would also exclude the car because I don't need it, because I use public transport, and I think car is not as useful as other things, and also I'm considering to have a baby, so that's it.
Okay, so I would exclude the car from my life because I don't even use it now, so it's the easiest one for me to give up. And I would probably buy a bicycle or something.
So I would stop using my car because I think you can, if you live like in a city, you can always use a bicycle or the public transport. You don't really need a car.
Okay, so if I were to exclude something from my life, and I think I would go, I'm gonna have a baby, I need one. And eating meat, I probably wouldn't, because I like meat and I don't see why I should, stay without eating it. And a car, if I'm living in a country like this, then obviously I don't need a car because they have a really good transport system, so I could stay without having a car. But if I'm living in my country, which is Sri Lanka, which does not really have a good transport system, then I would need a car. So, and I'm left with two choices, a computer or a cell phone. I think I would go for the computer, and if I have a computer, I think everybody can kind of, get in touch with me through it. So I think, yeah, cell phone. I would go without a cell phone.
According to my opinion, I exclude vehicle, that means car,
because in here I saw a lot of vehicles going on using electronic, and they are in the here. We can see its good transport system.
From this list, I would exclude car, and I would tell all people to use public transport to avoid air pollution and to avoid global warming. I think it's better to try and use transport less to avoid air pollution.
I can reduce a car because I can go somewhere by bus or train, so I think it's good that this is not necessary in your life. I think that
cell phone, because we can use computers instead of cell phone, and we can call through the computers.
Okay, so in order to reduce the carbon footprint, the thing that I choose to include from my lifestyle is the computers, because I have heard that computers produce a lot of heat from their machines, and this cause to, I think it's not that good for the climate change.
We asked 32 students from all over the world, and the most frequent answer on the given question was a car.
This has led us to a simple conclusion that the easiest way of reducing our personal carbon footprint will concern less usage of the cars. So here are our suggestions. If we want young people to behave more ecologically, we should provide them with an option to use different way of transportation than cars. For example, there should be more reductions of the prices of the public transports, so students will be motivated not only ecologically but also economically to choose these means of transport. Also, young people should be encouraged to use bikes more often, especially in the big cities, where they are the fastest option anyway. Here we can get inspiration, for example from London, with the famous so-called Boris bikes, easily available and cheap enough. As a kind of negative motivation can then be considered increase in the taxes imposed on cars and gasoline.
Those were only few of possible suggestions, but the main decision of course lies on the young people themselves. So we only provide them with the easiest way of reducing their carbon footprint, if they are willing to do so.